Okay, it is 6 o'clock. We'll call this meeting of the Juneau Utility Commission order. Roll has been taken. Need a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Ross, second by Bart to approve the agenda. Any questions or comments? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oh, opposed? Motion is carried. Minutes of the previous meetings. Motion by Bart,
I'll second.
second by Doug to approve the minutes. Any comments? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Public appearances. Jake,
Just me?
just you.
All right. I have handouts here to make it a little easier to go through this. Send them that way, send some that way. What's protocol here? You see me, you want me to stand here? Is that? I can see it. I'll stand down here. I can see everybody. I promise I won't take too long with this. So. But I appreciate the time on the agenda. So yeah, my name is Jake Olkey. I'm a senior vice president with WPPI Energy, which is your wholesale power supplier. Juneau Utilities is not just a member of WPPI, you're also an owner of WPPI, and so we do these visits every couple of years to make sure you have up-to-date information about what we're doing, where we're headed, and give you a chance to ask questions or just learn a little bit more about what we're doing. If you feel like you got questions as we go through, just jump in. This doesn't have to be super formal. I'll walk through the slides and I'll kind of tell you where I'm at. So starting with slide 2, give you a little bit of context about how WPPI is structured to be able to support our member utilities like Juneau Utilities. So here's our mission and vision. You'll see it speaks to what our core purpose is, which is reliable, affordable, responsible electricity, forward-thinking services, and effective advocacy. That's what we were founded to do, that's what we've always done, and what we always will do. But I'd like to call out a couple things here. If you look at the mission statement, it starts off with utilities accomplish more by working together. And in the vision statement, we talk about we see our approach as the standard for local utilities working together for the benefit of their communities. So I've had the fortune of working with the WPPI membership for 27 years, and I would say that to me is the key. Like, we're doing the things, right? We're lining up power supply, we're taking care of transmission, we've got services, but it's really bringing small communities together for the benefit of that. How do we accomplish more together than we could each do on our own? All right, on slide 3, I want to talk a little bit about our business plan. So this is how we carry out that mission and vision. We put together a 5-year business plan. This particular cycle that we're in year 4 of the business plan. And so it basically lays out kind of what we see the industry doing and what our priorities would be in each year going forward. The top 3 initiatives that we're looking at for 2025, resource planning. I mean, that fits with what I just talked about in the mission. I would say I would describe this year as we're looking underneath every rock right now to see what opportunities there are. How can we optimize the portfolio of power resources that we use to serve our communities, and how do we position ourselves going into the future to deal with some of the challenges that are coming. So you're going to hear us talk a lot about that. There's a lot of things going on right now. In fact, there's a lot of confidential things which probably will start to come to light coming here in the next few months, but look for a lot of discussions on that in the next year. Another thing that we're talking a lot about is transmission ownership. So if you could break down the bill that you guys get from WPPI, or even like at your house, the delivery of power is actually the part that's increasing the most at this point. So one of the things that we have, and I'll talk about this a little bit more in a couple slides here, is on the transmission system. Investing in the transmission helps us hedge some of those increasing costs, and we can use the dividends that we get back from that to manage increases in the transmission delivery costs. And then on the third priority is around member satisfaction engagement. So as you might guess, bringing 51 different utilities together, that there's a lot of work that goes into maintaining unity of purpose. And so we want to make sure that we're getting out, we understand what the expectations are, what the needs are of each individual utility, where those overlaps are, and then making sure that we can deliver on that. And that's going to be important for our membership model going forward. So you can see 2026 will be the last year of that business plan, so we'll be working on a new strategy going forward, probably starting early next year. That process has a lot of involvement from members. Like I said, just trying to understand what you see the needs over the next 5 years, what things are changing in the industry, and how we're going to bring that all together in a plan. All right, slide 4 has the map of the 51 member utilities. So just kind of an overview here. This year marks the 45th anniversary of the founding of WPPI Energy. That goes back to September of 1980. We started off as 30 members. Today we're 51. Juneau Utilities joined in 2004. I believe, if I remember right, Merlin Lutke, is that right? He was the superintendent at the time. Today, Mac is the director on our board of directors for Juneau, and Nick serves as the board alternate. I should mention that each of our 51 utilities does have a seat on the board of directors, and they're all equally weighted. So, as you might imagine, when you're trying to take care of business, that kind of points to that need for unity of purpose. I just want to I like to give kind of some perspective on the scope of what our collective looks like here. So, Juneau Utilities has maximum electric demand of around 10 megawatts. That's probably a summertime peak when you have a lot of air conditioning and stuff. And about $4.5 million a year in power purchased from WPPI Energy. When you put all of those 51 utilities together, we peak at over 1,000 megawatts, which would be like 100 times the size of Juneau, and an annual budget of $500 million. So basically what that means for our members is you have much bigger buying power, a lot more lessons learned and experience coming in, and just better options for power supply resources to serve your utility. All right, slide 5. So this one's my favorite graph in here. You know, in terms of measuring the performance of WPPI, I would say this one cuts right to the punchline. Just to walk you through, so there's 2 lines here. The top line it's a little bit darker. That's a representation of WPPI's average wholesale power cost to members over time, starting with the year 2012 going through 2024. And so you can see there that our costs in 2024 were essentially the same as they were in 2012. There's a little bit up and down that happens, but you can see in the scope of the graph, we're talking about a couple percent up, a couple percent down, and during that 13-year period, it basically is the same. And when you look at the lower line, I guess it'd be a lighter blue, that would be taking inflation into account. So when you do that in real terms, the costs have actually gone down during that period. So there's not a lot of products or services that we have today that have that representation or that kind of cost control. So if you combine that with the local efforts here to control costs, that means that the average homeowner in Juneau pays 35% less than the neighboring utility. And even on the business side, I looked up, it looks like the largest customers are somewhere in the 5 to 10% less. So makes you very competitive. It shows that the work you're doing here is paying off, and hopefully customers are appreciative of that. All right, so slide 6, how do we do that? How do we manage that cost control? So this gives you an idea of where our resources are located at, and the key here is there's a lot of diversity that takes place. If you've been to a board meeting or any type of meeting with WPPI, we talk about that a lot. The diversity is really the key to our strategy. So when you look at this map, you can see the diversity of resources. We have a lot of different generating fuel types, coal and natural gas on the fossil fuel side. There's nuclear and renewables on the carbon-free side. That just means that we're not exposed to any like one thing that could happen. So if, for instance, a few years ago, well, on the graph before, you saw like 2022 was kind of that peak of the cost, and that was, we had really high natural gas prices that year, which drove the market and increased our costs just a little bit. But because of our diversity, it only had a 10% impact on WPPI, where the cost of natural gas was actually like triple what it usually is. So that's the key to that diversity strategy. The other thing to look at here is the diversity of location. So everything is connected by one big transmission grid, and so what happens at times is you get constraints. We actually have instances where our wind projects in Iowa get limited because there's not enough load over there and there's too much resources and not enough transmission. So we actually have to do what's called down dispatch, and sometimes you have to turn that off or you're actually paying to generate there. That can happen anywhere on the system, and so the diversity of that location helps us make sure we always have enough resources to dump in and can maintain reliability. And then one other thing that's not on the graph would be, I guess, just when you look at the way these resources are lined up and then our purchases. We have long-term contracts, we have short-term contracts, and they're all sort of layered in, so nothing comes due at the same time. We have the ability to think this through and make sure there's not one single impact that happens in a year. All right, slide 7 is on the transmission ownership, and I said I would talk a little bit more about this. So on our strategy, owning part of the high voltage transmission system is another key to our cost controls and the way we keep our costs down. So to give you an idea of what that means, today we are 6.7% owner of the American Transmission Company. That's a regional transmission ownership company where all the utilities have divested their transmission assets there. And prior to that existence, we did not have ownership in transmission. So that was a big move in 2000 when that was created. We also have a couple of other projects that aren't in the ATC footprint. So there's what's called the Badger Cooley 345,000 volt line that goes from La Crosse to Madison. So we are a part owner of that. And then we're part of a line that runs from the La Crosse from the west, coming into La Crosse, by a group called Grid North Partners. But essentially what happens with those is we make an investment on that, and just like you would make an investment, you get a return for that. Well, WPPI operates on a nonprofit basis, just like Juneau Utility operates on a nonprofit basis. So when we get those returns, they actually go right back into the rates rather than taking it and paying off shareholders for that money. So that's been a strategy of ours. It's the best return we can get, particularly as a very conservative operation. Transmission is getting us the best return and the best impact on those rates. But to give you an idea, because of the growth that's happening with, particularly on like renewables side, and there's just a lot of load coming in on the eastern part of the state, there is a massive plan for transmission outbuild right now. So ATC today is about a $4 billion company, and over the next few years, it will become an $8 billion company. So if you think about it, outside of the investment, that's doubling those assets, which means somebody's paying for it, right? All the customers are paying for it. We're paying for that. So that's why, again, being part of that rather than just paying for it, we're also getting the benefit. All right, slide 8 is our sort of metaphorical stool. We like to use this to describe how we do our planning model. So in the mission statement, we talked about reliable, affordable, and responsible. Those are kind of 3 things that we try to balance. We know that there's some people would really like to see us move faster on the carbon-free side. Some people would like just to pay for reliability. They don't care about the mix. And then other people want want the affordability. You know, what can you do to make the cost as low as possible? And so trying to pick our resources and our strategies so that we're balancing all those things. And again, not putting everything in one basket. So looking forward here on the responsible side, what you can expect, we're going to continue to be pursuing carbon-free resources. It's been a little bit quieter this year. You're hearing a lot about data center growth, which is a massive load increase and a lot of fossil fuel resources being built for that. But I think what we'll see is natural gas being sort of a bridge resource that'll be getting at this reliability component. And then when we have that capacity and the ability to maintain the grid, things will start filling in again with more wind and solar and other types of renewable energy. And then on the affordable side, I think what's important for a group like yours is you're going to hear a lot about investment on the transmission side and on the power resource side. And WPPI is in a really good position right now in that we've paid down a lot of debt. So we have a strong financial position and the capacity to take on debt when these opportunities come up. All right, I talked a lot about the resource side. Just to touch quickly on services and advocacy. Slide 9 kind of gives you a bullet list of some of the key things that we're focused on right now there. I'm not going to go through these in detail just for the sake of time, but if there's any questions or anything sparks interest, I'd be glad to kind of touch on it. I will make one note under the topic of the business technology developments, just to give you a sense of the activity that's going on. We had an annual conference that we bring members in for, we call it our technology suite, but it's essentially like our billing systems, metering systems, mapping systems, all those things that kind of fit together on the technology side. That was maybe like May, I think it was. And we had well over 100 people attend that conference. That was a record for us. It's probably larger numbers than we even get for board meetings and stuff. So it was kind of exciting, but it shows how much interest there is from the members to continue to learn more about it, as well as the activity, needing the support on those types of things. I guess just quickly, like looking here in Juneau, I know that Nick probably got a lot of support from our distribution services team recently with the storm restoration. So that's another like service that we have. We don't talk about it a lot, but guys like Chris Chartier are out there. You know, you call and he's here helping out, and got meter techs chipping in. But I know that now that you feel probably a little bit better about the restoration, it's probably a natural progression to start looking at that outage management and getting maps up to date and working with our GIS specialists to get a model that will be helpful for predicting and restoring going forward. So I suspect that'll be a big project for you.
Yeah, we're on our way with it right now with Tyler and
Good.
all of them, yeah, so.
I got a question on that data center. How much of a strain is that gonna put on our system?
I guess it depends who you ask. You know, there's two sides of it. I think there's a lot of people that are worried. So, you know, I was talking about WPPI, all 51 communities together being about 1,000 megawatts. Some of these data centers, single campus being 1,000 megawatts.
They are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know well, I guess I know a little bit about power plants, but I think Kiwani's probably 1,000 megawatts with 2 reactors.
Yeah, well,
So it's gonna
Kiwani, yeah, I think, well, that was shut down, and I think they were looking at the possibility of bringing it back, but I believe they might have just discovered it's been too far shut down to.
Kiwani? Or not Kiwani, I'm
Point
not talking
Beach.
about Kiwani, I'm talking about Point Beach.
Point Beach, yes.
Point Beach is 1,000. Kiwani was 500.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's been decommissioned for a while.
Yeah, so that's a good way to look at it. How
Right.
many of those are you gonna need?
Yeah.
So,
You're gonna
they
need
say the
more.
Microsoft data center down in Kenosha is supposed to ultimately get to 1,800 megawatts.
Yeah, and P4 is closed. They closed that power plant. Oak Creek's down to half capacity. They shut one down there. Cassville is closed. Portage, that was supposed to shut down in '29, but now they decided they're possibly going to extend it a little while.
That's right.
I heard Dairyland over by Juneau City's that's shutting down. Where's all the power coming from, a windmill?
Yeah. Well, so like I
That
was
would take
saying, I
1,000
think you're gonna
windmills.
see a lot of natural gas projects coming up.
Is that what it's gonna be?
Yeah. Yeah, so if you think of the model that most utilities have, they don't make money by selling electricity, they make money by building things and getting a return on that investment.
Right.
So, you know, there's an advantage at this point for an investor-owned utility to sort of retire some of those older plants, move on to newer plants, and so there are a lot of proposals in the pipeline right now for natural gas. And then, as I said, there's gonna be a lot of renewables filling in on the energy side, and you'll probably see a lot of exploration on new nuclear, like maybe small modular reactors.
Yeah, but they're not gonna be built before this data center.
Oh, no, that's right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be tight for a few years.
And most of them that Doug mentioned there, those were coal burning.
That's right.
yep.
How many plants do we have left burning coal? Very few, right?
That's right. So we have some investment in the Elm Road Generating Station in Oak Creek, and that's scheduled to convert to natural gas by like 20, do you remember, 2032, 33,
Yeah, you
something?
can use it now as well.
Yeah.
What, 10 years ago, they just stuck, what, $4 billion into that place to build a new one?
Mhm.
And then they shut the old one down, but now they're gonna convert that over to gas.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, these are the challenges we'll be facing.
Will the megawatts stay the same? I don't even know what Oak Creek puts out. What do they put out for megawatts?
The Elm Road
Yeah.
is, I'm gonna look to, you probably know from your,
I only knew our portion.
yeah, I believe they're like in the 600 megawatt range per
Okay.
unit.
Yeah, that's.
Does that sound right? And, you know, so, yeah, so together I believe you're in the thousands still. The WEC has proposed a combustion turbine project at the same site, which is also in that range, probably over 1,000 megawatts.
Many years ago when ATC was formed, I was under the understanding that they would be the gatekeeper. And now we're talking about commingling ownership with some of their facilities for transmission?
So you're right. We are essentially the equivalent of a shareholder with ATC.
Okay.
So we have, like, when they invest, 6.7% of it comes from capital calls from WPPI, and then probably 60% comes from WEC, 30-some from Alliant.
So building on Doug's statement, do we have a leg up when we do run into times where there could be a shortage of transmission power? By being a part owner, does that put us in a better position or
It doesn't,
not?
well, it puts us in a better position in that there's investment happening. So the investors are still building transmission. It doesn't necessarily, nobody gets a priority. It is a neutral
Okay.
entity where, yeah,
All right, that,
they are the gatekeeper. So, yeah, good question though.
it's hard to understand how that works anyway.
Yeah.
How they separate all of that.
All right. Did I answer your questions or just got you worried?
Yeah, it's got me more worried.
Okay.
There's less power than there was 10 years ago, I think, on the line.
Generac got a sailing generator.
Yeah. Still waiting for my electrician to show up, and put a transfer switch in.
Right after the fair.
Part of what we get advantages of so ATC is our regional transmission owner, but then there's the Mid-Continent Independent System Operator, which operates the grid all the way from Manitoba down through the Midwest, kind of over to Indiana, and then all the way down into, all the way south. So there's like a couple regions there, but it is a lot easier to maintain reliability across a big grid like that, because you're drawing, like when you have a storm front come through, it hits here,
Right.
but it doesn't hit in Illinois, say, and so we can
Right.
generate resources there and kind of backfill some stuff. So that does have a very beneficial impact, and then MISO does most of the planning on like where they see across their system, where are the priority lines that need to be built and how do we allocate those out. So that's how I rest a little bit better, because it is complicated and a little scary.
There are lots of projects in the queue.
Yeah.
as well.
Yes. Oh, that's a good point. So, when you build a power plant, over a certain size, it has to go into a transmission review so that you can interconnect it, and the transmission system is ready to take that on. So there is a massive queue right now of projects to be built, something like 17 gigawatts or something like that, that are going through the review process. So there's a lot of people working to try to make it better, and it's just a matter of how fast they can get them through and get them built. All right, the last slide, 10, I guess just kind of talking about member participation engagement. Want to highlight that we do have our annual meeting coming up on September 17th at historic Lambeau Field. So I think it'll be a pretty fun event, meaningful this year. Doing tours of the stadium. Got guest speakers, John Kuhn, I think is maybe our evening speaker, so should be fun. Hopefully you've gotten the invites and some of you can make it up there and join in the festivities. But I guess other than that, if you have any other questions, I'd be glad to try to tackle that. But I think we talked about some of the issues here. I guess what I feel like is important to convey is we've got 45 years behind us. We've got a lot of talent at WPPI. We've got really strong unity and a lot of good leadership among our members. So I think we're in a really good spot. We can feel like the next few years are going to be really a challenge, but I would say it's probably looked like that my entire career. Every time you kind of take a look, there's always something new coming, and we always figure out how to manage it. So I guess that's kind of the message I'd like to leave you with. Any other questions?
I have a list of who the speakers are.
Oh, sure.
One of them is the chief meteorologist from National Critical Infrastructure and Public Safety. Jacob Williams from, he's the Florida Municipal Power Agency. Matt Schull from Missouri River Energy Services. Colin Hansen, Kansas Power Pool.
Yeah, so that is a session, it's a panel session, and those three are the CEOs of joint action agencies, so they'd be essentially like three other WPPI entities, which can give their perspective on what they're doing.
I'm looking forward to the meteorologist.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. We have another speaker lined up that is going to talk a little bit about the transmission planning stuff and some of the issues there. All right. Well, I appreciate it.
Well, thanks, Jake.
Mac, can we give Chelsea a second to just introduce herself?
Sure.
Sorry, I wasn't on the agenda, but I just want to introduce myself. My name is Chelsea Lizaway. I'm the new Eric Kostecki. So he was the former Energy Services Manager for Juneau who retired in April. He's been playing lots of golf since then. I've actually been with WPPI for just under 4 years now. He kept looking to me because I started in the power supply department, so I totally dropped the ball and I'm already forgetting things. I was in the power supply department, and now I've been in ESM for just under 4 months, or just about 4 months. I'm originally from Hustisford, so born and raised there, so familiar with Hustisford utilities and obviously play lots of sports against Dodgeland, so I'm not gonna hold that against you guys. Now I am working with the schools and the other large customers here, so that's one of the main tasks of the ESM is supporting with the customer service, your large energy users, and then also being a liaison for WPPI. There's tons of people that Nick and Lori and Pam work with at WPPI and all the departments, but if I can sometimes funnel that to where it needs to go if they have questions, that's something I can do as well. So a lot to learn, but I'm excited to be here in Juneau helping out. So if you have any questions for me.
She's done a great job so far. She's hit the ground running. Made a lot of connections already with a lot of businesses that have new faces and management roles. So she's doing great. So if you have any questions for her, she's an open book.
Okay. Thank you, Chelsea.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
We don't want to stick around for more.
This is where the good stuff is.
Take care, good safe travels.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Moving on. Business. Put back here to find my sheet. Lost track. Oh, we're gonna do monthly business. Okay. So, there it is. Approve the vouchers and the checks. Anybody have anything they, otherwise I'll look for a motion to approve payment of the bills.
Second.
Motion by Ross, second by Bart to approve the vouchers and the checks. Anybody have any questions, concerns? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Prior month's income statement. Out of curiosity, are all the bills in for the tornado?
Megan said she just got a check from the insurance company. And she'll be cutting a check to us for the municipal aid that we received to reimburse us for that from the insurance company.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or concerns on the income statements? If not, we'll move on. Council acts, there are none. Consumption and loss. Middle,
Keep it there, Alex, I can handle that.
middle
I want that- I
infiltration.
want that as the average for the year.
Do my best, right?
Wow. 2.5 million gallons?
I know we were talking about some of that in the south end of town, where they built those buildings where you knew some of that was coming in. Did they get some of that squared, they get that squared away?
It seems like, yeah. I haven't gone over there during a rain event to verify that, but, a lot of that stuff was left open during construction.
Yeah, I know during construction, but I thought you said we had a couple issues after construction, you said something about.
No, not really. Yeah, I could certainly verify it if it needs more looking into, but.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions on consumption and loss? If not, we will move on to delinquent customers. Yeah. Anybody have any?
We had 5 disconnects, 2 of which were the same customer, just 2 meters. All are back on. We had moved the disconnects back a week because we had that heat advisory. Was that 2 weeks ago? So we had to push it back 1 week. But yeah, everybody's back on.
Okay. If anybody have anything more on that? If not, we will move on to reports of officials. Utility accountants.
As you can see, we have our new carpet that was all installed last week. They came back today and did some of the base coat in the office because they had to order it. It was a different color than they had back here, so it's been a little bit of a challenge finding where our supplies are in our books, and we go to look for something, and some of the file cabinets are in the garage, and so we Pam will talk out, and I'm going to the file cabinet over the phone. It's a little bit of a trek back there, but made it through that okay though. And we did receive a letter from the PSC that notifies Juneau Utility Commission that the PSC Commission staff has determined that the utility is eligible for a study rate, the rate study, simplified rate case outreach. That's what we're doing with the WPPI.
It should be a simplified rate level.
Okay.
Because we're outside the duration.
And I don't know if that has to do with what WPPI is doing, I just assumed it was.
No, this is for water.
Okay. Sorry, I should have showed that to you earlier.
Right. Well, you guys think the water rate's not adequate, this would be the time to do it.
That was a question I had kind of in the back of my mind is, when is it time, and, you know, how do you know it's time to adjust rates? I think that's kind of what Baker Tilly helps us with that, right?
When you review your audit, when you start getting close to that 3% rate of return is when you.
Right. Well, and just, part of that too being, you know, we're looking at some investment coming up in the water system between our filters and well houses and everything. They're, you know, I don't know if trying to do a simplified rate adjustment ahead of time might help us be sitting a little bit better before we make investment in that system. I don't really know.
Baker Tilly will be here next month to present our 2024 financials and all that stuff, so that might be a time we can
Questions
talk to them about it.
Refer to them.
Yeah, those adjustments are usually made after those reports are in. That tells us that we're within that rate of return range, whether we can reach out or we're making adequate return. I don't think you can pre-plan
Well, no.
for the investment on something like that.
No, but this is definitely the time, if they're a simplified rate case, if you were needing it, definitely pursue this because the process is, it's like over a year timeline as far as going through the rate case. I still think a simplified rate case is still 6 months, 7 months yet, so, what it says right here, the current rate case increase factor is 3%, so yet. But they'll audit, and then you'll be able to determine.
But it's, I would rather be the utility that, you know, slowly does a few percent here and there, and then if we get to a point where we gotta do a major project, we're not doing the same thing we did with the wastewater plant. Just speaking out loud.
Mhm.
You know?
The last time that we had a water increase was 2020. So it's been 5 years now, so.
Something to at least ask and keep in mind.
All right.
Other than that, I don't think there's really anything going on. We have National Night Out tomorrow night that we'll be at. It's from 6 to 8.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Lori? If not, we will move on. Nick?
All right, the first on the list is discuss possible roofing contract. So to give you guys a little background info, the utility shop was, roof was damaged during the tornado. I had Megan and Joe kind of lead the way on it just because I had so much going on at that time with getting the power back on and restoring the system back to normal. During this duration of up till now, the adjuster met with a roofing contractor, BRH, out of Mayville, and they determined that they would cover the south side of the roof for $19,000 some odd dollars. And they also asked, like during that time, do you guys want to possibly look at doing the whole roof since they're here? And I told Megan to yes, give us a quote because, you know, actually when I went on the roof, I thought that the north side of the roof was the damaged portion. And then I got the report back that they're covering the south side of the roof, and I'm like, okay. So as far as the shape of the roof, in my opinion, if we're doing the one side of the roof, we should do both of them right away. During all this, the insurance was also dealing with other city-owned buildings, the historical building, the community center, or the concession stand over by the softball field, the softball field announcer stand, the city hall,
Historical
the
Society.
Goose Park. So this was all under one claim. And so the adjuster approved this, and Megan ended up signing the quote for the covered part, but I also wanted to look at possible cheaper quotes because they gave us a quote for the shop and it came in at like $13,000. The initial quote did. So we had some other people come take a look at it, and one contractor did have a cheaper quote for the part that we would want that would not be covered under insurance, and that cost came to like $12,300 and some change. The bad part is that the insurance contract was signed ready by the city, so that locked us in with that contractor, BRH out of Mayville. BRH did not want to back out on doing the utility office, but they did then agree to honor any of our cheapest bids that we got from surrounding contractors. So I'm looking to get approval to get the full roof done, and the portion that the utility would have to cover for the north side of the roof would be $12,301.40 by BRH out of Mayville.
So you're gonna get the whole roof done for 31,000?
Well, yeah.
Is it this building, I
Yeah,
assume?
just this shop, and then there's some soffit and some minor gutter repair.
The well house?
No, would not include a well house. But that was done, that was done 8 years ago, matching of the shingles that were up there.
When was this portion done?
Well, I tried to find that out. My guess is 18 years ago.
2002, that was when we did this remodel, or when we finished this remodel. Because that was, your well room was a flat roof. We put the truss roof on, and then we had an issue. The general contractor that was doing the truss roof at that time couldn't get the hatches. So then the hatches had to be cut in a year later. And then we had leaking issues after we did that. So one of the contractors that Nick is referring to, that, which I think local contractor, who used to be Al Skence's, or who was Al Skence's son-in-law, who was good enough to do those repairs and mesh it all in and make that well room good and whatever. So yeah, 2002 is when this project was done, as far as A meeting B. And I'm thinking 90s was when the truss roof was put on this half. So we've actually going on our third roof on something just since the 90s. So that was kind of hard for me to swallow when I heard that already, because I kept driving by and I thought, where is the damage on this roof? I couldn't really see it from the ground at all, after the storm. But roofing has definitely gone up, I guess, especially after a tornado.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a good idea. You're putting new ridge cap on. You may as well not put new ridge cap over one half of the roof that hasn't been replaced. I think we could definitely get another 8-10 years out of that roof, but and do spot repairs. But I'm thinking now is probably the time to get it done.
All right, gentlemen, what's your pleasure?
Where's the money coming
Well,
We have,
we have money available for that.
That's why it should have been a utility decision. I kind of said, hey, I said, why did we jump to sign this contract so fast? But, we're working on one $5,000 deductible for all the roofs in town that City of Juneau has insured, and including these roofs. But I wanted that to come back to you gentlemen for approval to do the half that wasn't covered under insurance. I just thought $32,000 was a lot of money to roof this whole roof, whatever. This is a roofer's dream. It's like doing carpet.
They charge the 18,000 for a house.
Yeah.
And that's as simple as it gets, our roof. They won't get any
Well,
simpler.
this is about as simple as it gets up here too, You hardly have to cut anything other than the rakes. That's so.
As far as my capital budget goes, there's $8,500 that I'm not spending this year. And that was for the track mats for like driving in people's backyards. So we have $8,500 from that capital budget that won't be used.
we also have a couple $100,000 in the cash flow that isn't assigned to anything for the year, out of the profits.
Into what?
With the cash flow, with the net profits after capital expenditures.
And I don't remember how we broke this project down. This half of the building was pretty much all electric utility, and the well room and office was pretty much.
Yeah, I would assume it
So-
would all put electric.
So, yeah.
It's our
but,
shop, so.
but even at that,
Yeah, come on,
Go
Alex.
on, go on.
Work on.
we do have money in that tower fund too, if you were looking to share some of the costs with the water sewer utilities.
Well, that went to the gas line.
Yeah, but
Should be somewhere.
there's still more than that left.
Anyways, you can pay for it.
Yeah.
It makes sense to me to have one contractor do the whole roof.
And with it being signed, it almost did backfire because, once that adjuster then got the different quote that was cheaper, they didn't wanna honor the $19,000, but then,
That was really strange.
so I actually had two more contractors coming to give me quotes that I ended up canceling because I was worried that was the adjuster gonna back out, and then there also was the game of, is the damaged part gonna be cheaper than what the good part was that we were gonna have to pay for? Was the offset gonna be different then? But the adjuster, we showed them that it was signed and dated X day, so they still honored that 19 some thousand, so.
And the good thing is the side that wasn't covered, if you got him to drop down to where the other contractor, the local contractor was going, it's a win-win, you save money in the long run.
And so I don't think Megan did a good job. That's not, like, I don't think she was not doing what she was supposed to do. I think just having her taking care of it might have went too far with signing it before we got it here, so.
Well, I'll make the motion to pay for the other half of the roof.
We have a motion.
I'll
We have
second that.
motion by Bart, seconded by Dick to do the complete roof, right? So, is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Well,
Motion is carried.
300, yeah, I'll have that.
I'm assuming they looked at that, but just to make sure.
Yeah, they inspected the whole building, so. Second on the list, this is an add-on, this was kind of an afterthought with the carpet getting done, and having everything moved out. I was looking at the possibility of having this room painted right away, since we have everything away from the walls. Had Jim Wild come, I think a lot of people probably use Jim Wild that are in this room. And he came and gave us a quote. While he was here, Lori had me have him take a look at the lobby as well as the utility office. So I have two prices here. I'm hoping we can at least get this room done, but if you guys don't see fit to have it done, then we won't. But he gave a price of $1,500 for the conference room, front entrance, up to the kitchen. And I did break down costs for us to do it in winter, and he said it's going to take 2 coats of bonding primer, and I looked at the cost of that. The materials alone, we're at $850. And then if you had us do it, I mean, this is something we probably could do in winter if you want us to, but our labor costs are going to end up being more than Jim Wild's. We're going to probably have about $2,200 painting this room. So, and we have everything moved away from the walls.
What are you gonna paint here? You gonna paint all this?
The panel.
The paneling.
The panel?
Just to lighten it up, 'cause it's so dark back here.
Make it homey.
$1,500, you said?
$1,500 for this room. And then
Well, that's because you're painting that paneling, and you gotta
Yeah,
use
that bonding
special,
primer.
special primer on it.
And I looked up the cost of it, and he said you're gonna go through at least 10, like 2 5-gallon buckets of it for this. And if I remember right, I think it was like $250 a top or something.
Sounds about right.
So, and then so this was 2 coats of primer, 2 coats of satin, Sherwin-Williams. That was at $1,500, and then if we wanted to do the utility offices and lobby, that would be an additional $1,150. And that's no primer, that's just going over with 2 coats of regular satin paint, Sherwin-Williams.
What are you gonna do, what color you matching the kitchen walls?
We're going to a lighter coat. It's like
Well,
restful white.
one of
It's
these.
like a whiter.
Kind of a beige, I think we call it.
Could be this purple take one. Just
So that's
Just
the
white.
whole-
Like an eggshell?
everything?
Yeah.
like an eggshell.
Everything's the same color?
No, the lobby would be between these
Lobby's gonna-
tanner-ish
yeah.
Okay,
more
'cause yeah,
tanner.
pigs.
the lobby right now is like a bright white, and it shows
It's blue.
handprints really bad.
Actually, it's
Blue.
the
Well, it's a
lobby.
bright something, it shows dirt.
Yeah.
Or am I thinking your offices?
I'm not well, the offices and the lobby are all the same color. and
What's
the
your hands
bathrooms.
doing on the wall in the offices?
And the reason,
Working hard.
then Jim would be able to start Thursday, which was one of the big things too, was to get it in here and get it done so we can get everything back out of the, by the lobby there. If you guys go in the lobby, there's stuff everywhere. So based on your decision tonight, we'll determine if we go forward with it or not.
So,
I don't know when the last time was that anything was painted. I've been here 5 years and one's been done, so.
Look, that
Looks
looks like
like
the
it's
money
well-
for it, right?
Yeah.
2002.
At a minimum, I would definitely like.
That was a
want
big year
this
for
one
the
done.
utility.
2002 is
Well,
when we
There-
did
theirs
it.
does,
Our room done.
theirs do have like chips and it does need a definitely touch up, so. And if you guys wanted to do one, if the consensus is, I can do one motion, I'll just add these up together quick.
2,650.
There you go.
What is your pleasure?
Seems like.
What are they gonna do where we had our markers there, Nick?
Yeah,
Say it again?
What are you gonna do where we had our markers?
That I'm taking off. So I'm gonna clear the walls.
Those will come off of there without
Yeah, they're
taking?
just finished nails in them.
Okay.
I took
can't
one off.
remember how we put
I
them
took
on.
one off already.
That's for the firemen's offers, the officers and the membership names were all in their banners. That slid in and slid out as members came and went, so.
And he wouldn't do the trim around the windows, that would stay, but everything, like that, was that an entrance at one time, or what was that?
Yeah, that went out in the barn.
I would have them just paint that whole thing, cause.
Oh,
Well, I'll make a motion to, hire Wild Painting, Jim Wild Painting, whatever, to, paint both rooms at a price of
650?
2650.
$26.50.
all right. We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Doug. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
Alright, so project updates, Fair Street update, we have the underground energized, it is running, it is feeding the downtown area. We have about 90% of the old overhead, infrastructure down. We have to do the back alleyway behind, Wagner's shop there, up to the post office. We had to work on a Saturday, because we had to turn the power off to the Dodge County Administration Building along with a couple other businesses in that area to finish up the last switchgear. But that is all up and running. We kind of shifted gears because ATC gave us that we need to be 90% completed by the end of August to keep up with their schedule. So we're out doing ATC work right now. But I'd say next week we'd probably come back in and take the rest of that old infrastructure down, so that job could be completed. The stage 2 of that project is pulling the poles on Fair Street, the block north of East Oak Grove, and we have 3 aluminum streetlight poles that I have in the yard that was designated for those. Is to pull the wood poles and set 3 aluminum poles there. With LED fixtures,
That was on what street?
Fair Street. The lights probably wouldn't happen until September, October. ATC update, JNR has completed. It went fairly smooth until ATC threw in a wrench into the project. They submitted their FAA permit, which is for the airport, and the permit was denied because of their structure heights. Now their structure heights haven't changed, but it was grandfathered in up to this point, and this is now new construction. So now with the new height restrictions that are in place, they had to lower cut several of their poles, which in turn changed the height restrictions that I'm allowed to be on them, the ones that I'm staying on. And they gave me a maximum height of 17 feet, and I'm like, I can't get it, my infrastructure on 17 feet. So they also then made me go underground for an additional 3 spans, which then I had to have JNR come back and put in 3 more pipes that could have been all neatly joined in one trench, and now we have some weird spacing going on up there. ATC and Charter were also forced to go off the poles because of these height restrictions, which is actually good, but again, it just adds more underground infrastructure up there that could have been joint together. And, but needless to say, the underground infrastructure has been installed, wire has been pulled in, we are working on terminations this week. We could probably get terminations done by the end of the week if we don't get any surprises with the road project or whatnot, but it's safe to assume by end of next week that we should have the underground energized, and then we have 2 poles to set to formally finish that project. So I think we should be actually 100% complete by the end of August to meet ATC's timeline. July 23rd at 6:43 p.m. we had an outage on the block of Depot Street, East Oak. There was 22 customers that were affected. The reasoning for the outage was a blown bushing on a transformer. Oddly, this was one of those refurbished transformers that didn't have a pressure relief valve on the transformer. So with this was during the heat advisory week. So heat builds up, you got expansion of oil, nowhere for the gases to go. The weakest point is going to be your bushing on the transformer. And oddly enough, the bushing blew off the transformer, but the wire stayed energized. So we were able to swap that transformer out. I had to replace that elbow, and we had everybody back up and running by 8:45 p.m. We replaced the Dodge County Administration transformer. We actually downsized it. It was a 1,000 kVA transformer. We downsized it to a 500 kVA. Looked at their peak usage over the last 10 years, and they peaked at 325. So we have a more accurate transformer for their loading there now. The reason we replaced it out is 1, it was on the replacement schedule. 2, it was rusting out prematurely. Bad. We did some temporary fixes to it to kind of keep it together up until this point. And then 3, we are pulling that Plaza streetlight power from there, so it just lined up that we would do it this year, pulling the lights to while we replace that out. That goes into the Plaza streetlight update. All the pipe was installed. Kind of got the service location set up. Dan came in and set up his tri-type transformer and panels, and everything seems to be working as it should. We're just waiting on the 2 streetlights, poles, and fixtures to get here to finish that. I have the anchors and the template for the anchors, so we'll get that footings poured probably in about 2.5 weeks. We'll pour those. Poles won't be here for another month, so I try to expedite them, but I can't get them expedited without paying an arm and a leg. And then as far as the road project, we had to take down 2 streetlight poles on East Oak Road here for the new storm that's being put in. 1 footing they had to take out completely now because the storm ran right next to it. So we will have to pour a new footing and new anchor bolts for that when that time comes. That should be it.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Nick? If not, thank you.
Said next time I'll come in.
Alex?
I'll talk slowly
Challenging me.
anymore.
No, that's okay. You can talk fast.
Okay. First item was to talk about the change order number 9 for the wastewater treatment plant. That should be the last page of your packets. MSA asked me more or less, what do we want? Because everybody was here at the last meeting. What are we after? What would we like to pursue? And this is in reference to the crane rental, or the Davit crane issues. So I just more or less took the liberty to name a price, and kinda came up with, well, Staub was gonna be giving $8,000 in future crane rental costs, and MSA had already picked, put forward 5,000. I just figured to kind of mull this over, let's just, maybe try to match MSA's 5,000 to the 8,000 that Stott was putting forward. And ran that through Sherry, and she had mentioned that Staub had a little bit of wiggle room in their number. So more or less, MSA pushed that onto Staub. So MSA stuck at their 5, but then Staub agreed to move their number to 11. So we got an extra $3,000, but it didn't come from the firm that I was hoping to get it from.
Yeah, right.
Otherwise, this change order also includes removing the zone heating valves that we had agreed to replace. The restocking fee that they asked for the valves that had been ordered was only $300, so that was minimal. So both of these are credits to the utility of a total of $47,388. But MSA already cut us checks for the things that they had noted to be deficient or could have used improvement. So we have that check in hand already, so.
We do?
I didn't bring it to you yet, but I
Oh,
have it, yeah.
okay.
So, more or less, I think this is kind of just the time to move forward, I guess, personally, in my opinion. I
Okay.
don't know if anybody wants clarification on anything.
All right, anybody have any questions on this? We can approve this change order.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
We have a motion by Bart, second by Ross, to approve the change order number 9. And a savings of 47,000, what,
388.
okay? Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.
Moving to just projects updates. At the wastewater plant, they installed the new main entryway sign today, of which we helped a lot with hydro vacuum poles for the posts. In the last month, generally, we've had a lot of issues with plumbing, in that we found, because within the project, we got a new large parallel water softener system. We found that one of the softeners was not softening correctly, or the main reason we found it was because we were getting iron in the building, which was supposed to be treated through these softeners. Well, Culligan came to service them and removed the tank off of the plumbing, which, to note, is a large manifold of 3-inch copper plumbing that's affixed to the wall. So they pulled this softener tank off the wall, and all of this large plumbing sank. So they couldn't actually physically get the softener back into the plumbing because it wasn't adequately mounted to the wall. So between Staub's plumber and Culligan's plumber, they had to try to fix it, get it back where it belongs, and in the process, multiple solder joints had cracked and began leaking. So it was a
bit of a snafu, yeah. So they finally, as of today, they got the softeners working, I believe, the way that they want them working. And the plumbing is back where it should be with added pipe stands, for support. The plumbers, when the plumbers mocked it up, they had it on unistrut with hangers. But the pipe insulation was not in place at the time. Well, MSA's spec required them to put the hangers on the outside of the pipe insulation. Well, the problem was during that process, it loosened everything up enough to the point where it could sag while they were adding that insulation. So they put undue stress on the softener to hold everything up, and once that one got removed to get fixed, it all fell roughly 4 inches, so. Hopefully it's figured out now, but that's just how this project has been going, so. I will be glad when they are out of there. And there's not really a lot left for them to square away at the wastewater plant. Some painting things, minor checklist, punch list items, so hopefully that's in the next month or so, that they'll be done there, so. The next main thing is, obviously everyone has seen that East Oak Grove Street has some construction going on. There was a number of water and sewer stub outs going to that vacant lot. They did wind up having to abandon one of those, the furthest east that was on East Oak Grove Street. More or less the concrete pipe was right on top of it, and I can't foresee somebody building right there anyway, so I just gave them the go-ahead to abandon that water
Close to the
stub out.
trailer center?
Yeah. So, there's still 4 or 5 other stub outs for that property anyway, so. They had to do that. Otherwise.
Is there stubs on Depot too?
Yeah, there's, I think, 4 or 5.
Two, I think.
There's a number of them. Between Oak Grove and Center, I think there's 4 or 5.
In center,
Yeah, so.
but not Oak Grove and Oak.
On Depot, sorry, those,
Yeah,
that number's on
Depot,
yeah.
between Oak and Oak Grove, I think there was only 2. And how many were on from the?
There was 2 on Oak Grove.
2 on Oak Grove stubbed in
But
from
then
the.
on Depot, there was at least 2, I think there was 3.
I thought 2 on that block and 2 on the other
How
block.
about Oak? Is there?
Nothing on Oak.
Nothing on Oak.
There's no
There's
main
no
on
utilities
Oak.
there. And then there's more on the block to the north of that.
But these are all just house-size laterals,
Yeah, they're
4
all-
inch and 1 inch, so
Yeah.
depending on what goes there, we may be opening the street anyway. Unless we
I don't-
bust them up in the lots.
Litter box is gonna build there.
I don't know what to say.
Litter box, they're putting parking structure.
There, here's all we can get a shuttle bus.
Shuttle.
Smoking will be allowed at that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one lateral you talked about, that was almost on the rec trail, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was right there.
Right next to Nick Street.
Yeah, and I just thought, who's gonna build a house on top of 2 48-inch concrete pipes? So it just didn't make much sense. Beyond that, we've been doing some construction or repair work ourselves. We're fortunate that we have Troy with us now, and that he brings some enthusiasm and experience to road work, so he's been working, side by side with me and now Brian to do some excavation, and we've gotten 2 full depth repairs done already, down to basically the water main. We have 9 more repairs to go, of which one of those is full depth as well, so we've got a lot more road work to do ourselves on that road. I kinda estimate the amount of work that we're doing
if we paid somebody to do it, would have been $30,000 plus, so. It's only gonna cost us parts, which is roughly, 5,000 or ish dollars, so we're saving a lot of money. It's been a lot of work to try to organize and find the time to do this out of our already busy day lately, so. We're digging a lot of holes, but it's a lot of work. So hopefully we can get the rest of these things repaired here before it gets to be crunch time for asphalt to go back in, but we are doing our best.
Did they give you a time frame for?
The last email I got was milling is gonna happen in 2 weeks, and then asphalt to follow, so
So you're gonna get this all done in that thing?
I hope so. We're gonna try.
And we're getting compaction around all our trenches?
We're doing as well as we can, hopefully. The Harbor Freight plate compactor that Joel's got we're hammering on it, so. Hopefully the proof roll that Northeast comes through with might help us out a little bit too, but and show us if anything more. Because, yeah, obviously with the Center Street, we're aware of what happens if we don't have it adequately
Put a lot of emphasis with our street superintendent about that massive crossing there. He says, I don't need a speed bump or a
Oh, that's-
sinkhole there,
That would be a big one.
Yes.
But we're using all the equipment that we have, so.
Use that junk.
Yeah, that's what Joel said too. Yeah. So, otherwise, Sensient this month has had they have struggled at their wastewater plant. They've discharged pretty substantial loadings to us, and thus far, we've had to make some adjustments, but the wastewater treatment plant has been handling it. And also, I did email them that we're able to handle the new contractual limits through the project that were set forth. And they've been taking advantage of it. Yes. Yeah. With no question.
That was probably a mistake.
Yeah. Yesterday, they discharged 450,000 gallons. Our total flow was 665,000 gallons, so.
Oh, wow.
We are a polishing plant for Sensor, more or less.
30%.
Yeah, 34%, yeah.
So they should have been paying for 60% of this thing instead
If
of.
you're basing it off of yesterday's flow, yeah.
How does it work I mean, I guess it's too early to tell how.
We made some adjustments to kind of make up
Were
for
they
it.
sending it because they were holding a lot back though?
I had a meeting with them that they are frustrated because they don't know where all the water's coming from. They have audited their entire manufacturing process, and they think that this should only produce a certain amount of water, and they are treating more than that. Yes. I said, I know how it is. Having more water come in than you think you should have come in, but I don't know what to tell you. So,
You can commiserate with us, I
yeah,
guess.
that's basically it. They, within the email I sent them saying we could handle the new contractual limits, I said, we are still holding to our surge penalty rate schedule because treating wastewater still costs money beyond extra limits. They did email back stating, and I can agree with them in that the surge table was laid out on a basis of percentage of max pounds per day that was in the contract. So with their new larger max pound per day allotment, the new surge penalty language should follow that percentage of this max pounds per day number. So
their pounds number should increase proportionately.
I changed it on their.
You did already?
On the spreadsheet, yeah,
Okay.
for last month.
But that is with the statement that they still follow the concentration guidelines within that, so it's more or less, it's just proportionally giving them more pounds, but that's assuming they're discharging more water. If they're discharging less water, they still have to play by concentration guidelines as well, so.
How was their phosphorus discharge?
During this last set of issues, they were as high as a 10. And for the longest time, they played in the 1 to 2 range. So
That's
it
a lot extra
went a
chemical.
lot higher. Yeah, we went from using 7 to 10 gallons of chemical a day to 20 to 30.
Wow.
Oh, geez.
At over $12 a gallon, so that is the added cost coming through for that.
And we have that in our contract that we can tag those
Well,
incidental costs?
correct, if they meet the severe portion of the surge language, which I'm not 100% certain if they will make it this month or if they did or didn't, but they'll be really close if they don't, so.
The cost of the penalties, I think we figured out does really cover the
Yeah.
cost of the chemicals or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Because
'Cause
if
we-
they go into the severe penalty stage, they get billed $500 per day plus $2,500 per every 3 days out of 7 days.
What about if they just stay under that plateau?
It's still in the moderate section, so it's still
Right, so they still
$500
get
a day.
$500 a day.
So,
We've been averaging.
It's been coming
We've
up.
been averaging $10,000 to $13,000 a month just in penalties,
yeah.
besides their monthly fee.
So it's been coming out generally fair, I think we've kind of figured out, because for a while, for 2 years, we were itemizing, when they get into the severe penalty stage, we were itemizing hauling and chemical usage and everything else.
I think it
And-
came to like $8,000 or something.
Yeah,
that we-
and more or less, we came back to the realization that we're covering that within the base rate, more or less. So we're moving away from itemizing it just because it's not fair, but,
You don't cut yourself short.
well, no,
Oh,
If
and that's
you're-
one of the
if
things
you're
about
chemical-
itemizing, you gotta do that once in a while to make sure you're not cutting yourself short.
Checks and balances.
Yeah.
Now you wind up chewing up 2/3 of your
Operating, yeah.
of your fee on chemical, then you've got nothing left for your extra labor and wear and tear on your
Right.
equipment and everything else that goes into it, so.
But I think, just between Lori and I think we've been shaking out pretty fair,
Yeah,
so.
Just asking.
because we still have the 18,000 a month for just their fee, plus
Okay.
the penalties, and the penalties have been covering any extra costs that we
Did they always pay
itemize.
that promptly, Lori?
Yep,
Good.
they've been very good about it. In fact, they actually call me if they don't have the invoice by the 20th.
Super. Well, they know what it would cost to put their own plant in.
They stopped by and I was a little frank with them, but they were trying to come up with temporary solutions and, you know, we can get a rental unit to do this and do that to try to push more flow through it. I told them, well, by the time you get this rental unit set up, you're talking $200,000 by the time it's running. Why don't you just stick that in some actual infrastructure? And their comeback to that was, we could do that, but they're afraid that there would be some growing pains associated with it, because as you start tearing into their system, you'd wind up discharging. It would be hard to meet their limits at the same time, so I'm more of the opinion that I'd rather deal with you for a short period of time, having growing pains, and actually have your system set up than to operate what you're operating, but that's not necessarily a decision I can make for them, but, yeah, so they're looking at it, but they have a substantial discharge going on. And we're gonna have a pretty decent bill for them this month. We did have budgeted for this year to have a new flow meter put into the metering station for Sensient, which was installed on July 23rd. For a short period there, Sensient did pay a separate company to install a meter for us, for them, because they didn't believe our numbers. Even with that equipment, the numbers were still different than their numbers, and I didn't like the fact that we didn't have control over that equipment anymore. So the new equipment wasn't the company that we contract wasn't able to calibrate them or verify anything with them or service them at all. So I just wasn't the most comfortable with that equipment. So it was in place for roughly 3 years, and we'll just be giving it back to them. And parts of it weren't working anymore either because it wasn't actually waterproof, so we have the new system now for that.
That's what they wanted.
Yeah. Water resistant, but you put it in a 20-foot deep hole in the ground. Yeah.
It should be submergible.
The new one is submergible.
Okay.
July 24th, I took a meeting with Woodstream, the Hummingbird place. They are trying to save money on their sewer costs because they use a lot of water to produce their hummingbird nectar, of which they claim 95+% is shipped out as product. That being said, I think they said they're paying $1,500 a month on sewer fees that is ultimately not going to the sewer. I reminded them that they do have the potential to have a significant impact on our wastewater plant with the product that they contain within that warehouse. And the fact that they're operating under more or less a handshake deal with the utility. The fact that we are a small utility, we don't have pre-treatment agreements or contracts with certain businesses in town that maybe we should. So they're trying to, I understand them trying to save money, but on the backside of it, the wastewater utility has no way of sampling what they're discharging. And the amount of sugar that they have within that facility, if they had a spill, even to the amount of, and we've had it in the last year.
Yeah.
The last 2 years we had
Twice at least.
we had at least 2 violations because of them. Because they would have a spill of, I forgot, one of them was only 100 gallons or something. It was a very small
Did they have a
amount.
tote that leaked?
It was something like
Yeah.
that. So, just and they're emphasizing, well, we have more computerized systems and better control, and that's not gonna happen again, and that's what they say. But I told them, I'm not keen to work with you on that one, just for the sense that, A, the last year you've kinda had a poor track record. B, there's no reasonable way for me to monitor what your wastewater flow is. If you have 100,000 gallons going out, through the meter to your production, how do I know how much actually came through wastewater if you still have the means of discharging wastewater? So it kind of left at what I would say is reasonable is if they could put in something like a holding tank in the yard to where all the wastewater from the production area is going to one spot and we could hold it. and we could sample it ahead of time or anything else, I would even accept the waste as hauled in waste. I'm just not comfortable necessarily with them having the ability to discharge their wastewater to the system and not even paying for it.
Have them put a flow meter in, pay for a
Well,
flow
that's the
meter.
thing, I
If
told
they
them
wanna
they
do
could,
that, they can put a flow
they
meter
could
in.
put in a flow meter too, but the problem is that metering wastewater, especially in small amounts, is very difficult. It's, you know, one thing where Sensient has a constant stream of flow through it, but, so they're gonna be researching means of metering wastewater. And, at the same time, I'm researching, discharge contracts and what's reasonable and what's, you know, the ability to sample or anything else. Because what they have in-house there is pretty potent stuff, so.
They only have like a 2-inch water service for their domestic water, right, besides their sprinkler?
Correct. It's, yeah, tap right up the sprinkler. Actually, it's an 1.5 meter.
Okay.
But they're looking to upsize to a 2-inch meter and then run 2-inch everything off of it. But yeah, they're just trying to see where they could spend some money and in turn save some money. And I kind of just stressed to them that you guys have been operating on a handshake deal for a while here, and frankly, I'm on the opposite side of this, where we kind of should watch you guys a little more closely.
Yeah.
So, it wasn't the most productive. But beyond that, we completed the last of our required lead and copper sampling. I do not have the last portion of results. Assuming they all come back in within acceptable ranges, we will be, and I'm pretty confident in that being the case, but assuming they all come back good, we would no longer be required to provide public education about lead in the drinking water, so you'll see a lot fewer pamphlets in your bills. And then also, we would not be in enforcement from the DNR in any way, shape, or form for lead in water. So,
That's progress.
Yeah, we'll, pending the last few results coming in, we should be in really good shape for that. That being said, if we do find any more, it doesn't change the fact that they need to get removed if some do show up. Brian Bussin started his first day July 8th as our new employee. He's been doing pretty well. He did not come with any utility-specific experience, but he's a smart guy and he's been asking the right questions, and he actually worked his first weekend by himself this last weekend, so he has been a help, if nothing else, in doing the day-to-day tasks so that Troy and I especially can go out and do a lot of the extra stuff that we have going on right now. Aqualis came in with the reports from our sewer jetting and televising, and after televising 10,000 feet of sewer pipe, they found very little wrong. So more or less the budget that we have for sewer repairs this year is going to start working back into our backlog of stuff that was found in previous years. So it's a good and a bad thing, because like we keep talking about the I&I, we keep looking for it and we don't keep finding it. So we have a bunch of manholes that are going to get rehabbed with, you know, concrete and everything else to get those tidied up, but that's basically the plan for this year for the sewer repairs. I was off for a week this last month at a family reunion, and Troy, Brian, and Peggy all handled the plant by themselves, so I got a nice week off, so I can appreciate that. On a personal note, my wife is pregnant and due this fall, so I'll be taking an extended period of time off as well this fall, so. Thank you. Otherwise, I think that's what I have for today.
Okay.
I was viewing our access road off of W
To the north?
to the north underneath.
That's on my list of things to
Yeah.
fix, yeah.
How about acquiring some of that aggregate, that reclaimed blacktop,
Run it
and
up there, yeah.
pulling some of that stuff in there, because it doesn't look like you have much of a road with the undergrowth that's come up through the.
I did have plans to spray that as soon as we have time.
I took some up there in spring already.
Yeah, didn't you just do that somewhat recently?
But I think that would maybe give you a little more permanent road base using some of
Sure.
that reclaimed stuff that we've got
Well,
stockpiled and
We
what
can
have.
especially use some of that more coarse stuff
Mhm.
that is not really good for a lot of other things. I don't know what road that came off of, but it wasn't nearly as good as the first stuff we
It's
had.
not gonna grade well though, that's the thing.
Well, depends how much you wanna build it up, I guess.
Well, just, maintain the road back there,
Right.
Next thing the Nelsons will be planting over the top of
Well,
it there, so.
they're right next to it.
And get pretty close. And we fought hard to get that road in there, so, let's make sure we keep it maintained
There, yeah,
cause you definitely need it.
yeah. Yeah, that's without question, so.
Okay. Anything else? Does anybody have any questions for Alex? If not, we will move on. I have is the approve the utility wage adjustments and changes. So we had a personnel meeting, went through and came up with a viable wage.
There's information on like page 3 or 4, beginning of your packet. There's a wage survey that we had at the.
Oh, the one you had at the last meeting?
That one, yeah.
At the
Okay.
personnel meeting.
Yep.
We went to adopt the mean wage as the ceiling wage,
One exception.
with one exception, the building clerk, our ceiling is presently above the mean wage, so we left that one as is.
And they'd also be taking off the cost of living.
And there will be no cost of living at the first of the year.
So you're
Yeah, these will be the
proposing,
wages at the first of the year.
you're proposing the mean wage.
The mean wage.
The
is-
mean wage at the first of the year, the mean wage will be
Ceiling wage.
The
the
ceiling
ceiling
wage.
wage at the first of the year.
With no cost of living, and then you guys also discussed that would be the way we would do this in the future.
That's the way we're kinda thinking
We're
going forward.
thinking about keeping going on this so that we have we stay competitive with the utilities around us.
So as of January of '26, our ceiling wage will be raised to the 2024 mean wage of the surrounding communities. Which still
I would
puts
say
us
comparable, not competitive.
So you're still 2 years behind?
Okay,
Rather be that far behind than.
I'd rather be
We're
comparable
already
than not
3 to
comparable.
4 years behind, so.
I think we're making a really good faith effort to try and be more competitive with other communities is what we're trying to do with this.
Appreciate
How does this mean wage look statewide as compared to these utilities that we're comparing to? Do we know?
I think it was, when looking at the MEUW survey that we had, I think this is actually, the state wage maybe actually being, I think it was actually
A
more.
little bit higher?
yeah.
So you have a lot bigger communities that pay more.
Yeah, MEUW hits a lot bigger communities with a lot bigger budgets to draw wages from.
And why do we have, why are we comparing to these communities?
I think that was something that personnel, with
This-
city personnel, we
this
talked
came
about
from- Yeah.
a year,
Okay.
plus
A
a
year or
year
two.
ago or
Less than
so.
2 years
It might have been
ago.
2 years. I think it was from a year ago. I think that's where this came from.
'Cause these are the ones that the city then compared to last year.
Right.
Yeah, that's where we were, that's,
I mean, it-
that was where
Part
it
of
came
the-
from, was
Yeah, part of
joint
the
personnel.
Part of the process was I submitted to the personnel, like utilities in the area. Houston and Waterloo were both picked due to size comparison as far as like megawatts sold. Waterloo was comparable to us, and so we're actually quite a bit bigger than Houston as far as megawatts sold. And then other ones were just as far as proximity within our 35-minute or 30-minute.
Yeah. The only things that jump out to me is the number of customers. Obviously, all the other communities have a lot more customers. Some of them have a lot more, you know. And I'm not arguing with anybody's numbers here.
I'm assuming, I don't know. Waterloo has a lot more employees, I think.
Yeah, they have
They have a lot.
four linemen / apprentices. And then let's see, Waupun, they have six.
Well, it makes sense if you have more customers, you're gonna have more.
Yeah.
The other thing that jumped out at me is the mean wage for the apprentice.
Yeah, so that wouldn't, if we followed journeyman step.
That's based off the journeyman rate.
Step rate.
So that wouldn't be good.
So they have a percentage of the journeyman rate that they get paid.
So theirs would not change either at the
Correct.
beginning of the year?
Correct.
Cause yeah, I look at this mean and then I look at the row across and that's not the average of the row
No,
across.
the only reason we didn't bring it up in the motion is because of how the scale was already established, was that it was based off the ceiling of the journeyman rate, so, I mean, we can add that
Well, if
for.
the journeyman grade is changing.
Yes, the
in
apprentice.
turn, the apprentice would change, it's
Correct.
just not to this specific.
Correct.
limit.
Yep.
It did also change the wastewater percentages for advanced, certified,
Yeah.
and
And there
regular.
was one, we went from, what was it, 90?
96 to
Isn't it?
97.5%.
So there was more of a gap.
A little more incentive for the person to
To
get
get
their,
exams.
It's more even, right? So
Yeah, even to
Split,
the-
split between a 95 and 100.
So then what do your guys get, what would your guys get that don't have any?
So, right now, this water sewer operator number, that would be associated to the advanced certified operator. Below that, we do have the job titles of just certified operator and just operator.
Yeah.
So the certified operator would receive 97.5% of this ceiling number for their ceiling number, and then the regular operator would receive 95%.
That's what they get now? Without
And that was
looking at
kind of
the-
what we were just mentioning.
96 and 95.
Right now it's 95 and 96 and then 100, so that was just bumping the certified operator to be slightly higher than it is now.
Did anybody figure out the percentage raise? I was a percentage guy.
it depended on where it was. I mean, I don't think anybody got, maybe Lori gets 10%, but some of them, like Pam doesn't get a raise.
Yeah.
I have it for water at least.
But I did the rough math, and I mean, it went from Pam, who wouldn't get a raise, and I
I
think
think
Lori.
Pam went to,
What was these numbers here?
there's a small
Yeah,
wage
change
for her.
Well, the thing about it is
Your actual
Yeah.
changes inside.
because we're paying more than her,
Yeah.
but she gets a jump because of another year of employment here, so she does get a jump somewhere.
Yeah, it was about, what does it say?
So, but I
There
think,
was a percentage
So
in
we're
there,
looking
but I
at eight
don't
to
but the
remember.
percentage,
8 to
I went
12%.
and calculated percentages, and I think most of them are around, I think Lori got the biggest jump, and And then I think everybody else was around 5 is
Well,
what I
Alex just showed me 8 to 12.
Oh, I didn't think it was that much. When I was doing the math on my phone, I didn't think it was that much. But I wasn't figuring out everybody's.
Unless I didn't do my math right.
Yeah, I didn't go down to the various different certifications. I was just
Right.
doing the top.
Oh, sure.
I was just doing the top line.
Yeah.
At least the way I was doing the math, but I didn't bring any of that paperwork with me when I was doing the math. Yeah, on my calculator from the other night.
And I'll note for my position, it was only based off of Hartford uses for, because Waterloo and Columbus are both hourly lead operators, they're not superintendents. And Waupun is just the far-fetched number, so I figured throw that out. And we can throw it back in if you want.
I think I got some more in their electric guy.
Yeah, that's an idea.
What do you think about that, Nick?
Whatever you
Essentially, we thought that this brought us into being more comparable with the different communities and still not pushing for the highest amounts.
We're not pushing.
And then have it be that we do this one adjustment and,
You're not guessing
We
on
don't have-
future years now with
Right.
that cost of living. This,
Something
and
to run.
all of
some are
those other-
bigger, but it catches you up to then now, next year, it's not a guess. You look at the survey and it's only a percent increase based on whatever numbers are given in the survey. Yeah, you're lagging a year, but it's 2 years, but it's not a guess. It's not throw in 2.5% and see how it works. You know.
I mean, is there anything that's perfect?
No, but I mean, what,
Yeah.
to me, what makes sense is you're basing it off of actual factual numbers based on a 2024 survey, and you're putting at the wages at what the surrounding utilities are at.
and that is still just the average of the utilities. Like I said, we're not asking for the top dollars of anything, we're just asking to be closer than what we are. And try to make it easy for you guys, because all of those surrounding communities will do cost of living and whatever, and all we have to do from now on is look at the survey and go, okay, well, this is the average of what everybody did, and
And it is ceiling wages, so you have to know what people that are not at the top of their wage scale are however many percentage below the average wage of their neighbors,
I just will note that, you know, in the past few years that I've been on the utility commission, it seems like we've made efforts
so.
to catch up,
Yeah,
and we're still catching up.
right. Well, and
Yeah,
this
well,
is
I-
kind of
you
the.
know,
And I will say from my perspective is it seems like we've done it piecemeal
Yeah.
the last few years. We've done it piecemeal. And
Every department
I
will
think
come
this
in on their
is,
own and-
I think this is, we're trying to do it overall. I know it's not perfect. I mean, it still may be a challenge going forward. But at least I think this is, rather than just picking a number out of a hat and saying that's what we're gonna give everybody, I think this is an effort on our part to, and a good faith effort to try and be close to what,
It would save a lot of arguments
yeah.
for cost of living.
Then we're making an effort to try.
Yeah.
Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Is it frustrating? Yes. If there is a better way,
Well,
I would love to find
I
it.
think everyone in this room is realistic that, you know, the size utility that we are, we're never gonna be on the top of that list, so, you know, we're realistic in that, you know, that's
Mhm.
why I think we came up with a good plan here, and that's why it is reasonable, what we came up with.
it's not reasonable to come in and say, you know, we should be above this because it's last year's numbers and everything else, and it's just not feasible for the size utility we are. But I think that this is a doable chunk and a reasonable plan for the coming future.
Both sides.
What year are our apprentices at?
3 and 2. Just started their, well, I guess technically halfway through, or first quarter of their third year, first quarter of their second year. Dylan's there this week.
I believe they've been working out real well. And
That's awesome. Dylan's a good worker. He's
And
I just would like to add something to that is, since I've started, I haven't seen you guys this busy and not in the office. There's times where I don't see Nick all week long because he's out there busy the whole time, unlike when we had,
somebody
other
else.
people here.
We can
It
take
wasn't-
Roderick's on.
Yeah.
I'll make the
Well-
motion to approve the wage adjustment and changes in utility personnel.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
You guys are good with it?
Thank you for asking.
That was the impression I got on
I know.
last Tuesday. That was the
I even-
impression I was
wasn't
given
here.
last Tuesday. Or we might be talking about something different.
They initiated it.
Okay.
You guys
well,
initiated it.
Yeah,
Right.
Am I correct?
It's a realistic
Yeah, the new
compromise.
survey came out in
And we
June.
wanted to come now and not.
Not in September.
Budget.
Well, and the thing of it is now,
So
now for,
mid-year.
for our budget, we have,
Because you're getting more.
well, the other thing is, for now, our budget, we have concrete numbers.
Right.
We don't have to guess at a percentage, we have concrete numbers for January.
That's correct.
so it should help the budgeting process.
Yeah.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. All I have is the annual meeting, and I mentioned what I had. If any of you commissioners would like to go,
When is it?
September
17th?
16th, 17th, and 18th.
Oh.
Them days are ringing a bell for some reason.
Yeah, it's the 16th, and it
What's
says
the
the
deadline
annual
for that,
meeting
Mac?
celebration.
What's the deadline for reservations for?
Oh, God,
Just look at that.
I don't know.
No.
I think it's August 15th or something like that, middle of August,
The rooms are,
2 weeks.
That's,
Survive the county fair.
that's, yeah, well, that's Dodge
If I
County Fair, I
survive the
gotta,
county fair, I can go.
with the president of Soulville Club, I gotta
Don't
be
get
there.
I forgot
that that's coming up.
Don't get killed up.
I won't be able to.
September or
Yeah.
August?
oh,
September, the
Oh,
meeting is September.
September.
So Matt,
September 17th.
don't forget the next meeting we were planning as well.
Oh, okay.
Is there a date that we have a preference on, the 18th or the 20th of August?
Yeah, we're gonna meet with 3 prospective companies to replace MSA.
Well, one of them is.
One of us is MSA, but to interview them, we either have the 18th or 20th of August available. It's a Monday or a Wednesday.
As a committee, or you just?
What?
You're gonna interview them as a committee?
As a committee,
A meeting?
Yep.
yes.
More or less. And what I've been telling them, and you can tell me if there's anything else that we want to include or ask for, but basically 30-minute time slots, they can do a 15, 20-minute spiel on who their company is, what they pride themselves in, different projects that they've done, why they'd be a good fit. 5 minutes for questions or stuff like that. Switch through, and then just so we don't have all these engineers sitting outside in the parking lot waiting.
What?
I think that's a reasonable time slot, and then it gives you kind of a reasonable, you got an idea how long it's gonna take then.
So,
Because I'm sure
I
some,
would maybe leave a little bit
Yeah, I would think that's pretty abbreviated.
Okay,
I'm
and that's
just saying.
fine, we can do longer, I don't wanna take all night for you guys either, so.
How long did you say?
I said 30 minutes a firm, you can present your
I
case.
think that's
Oh, that's
fair.
fair.
Yeah, that's a long time.
That's
man.
If you got 3, you're talking a minimum hour and a half.
Yes, they only take 20 to get extra credit.
Yeah. So,
Less billboard.
but yeah, and if there's things that you guys would like to see that I request that they bring, I'm more than open to that. But like I said, more or less the idea is just introduce yourselves and what you guys do and how you operate and kind of go from there. Obviously, I've met with all of them already at this point, so I've kind of.
Which
They have-
projects are you steering them towards?
This is towards the UV disinfection for the wastewater treatment plant. That's exclusively the project that's at hand right now because that is our DNR mandated deadline project right
So
now.
that's strictly the one that you.
That's strictly what we're talking about.
So you haven't talked to them about well upgrades?
No,
or
I haven't
anything
done
like
anything to
Okay.
that extent,
They just
no.
wanna make sure we're all on the same page rolling into that.
Correct. Right.
Well, then if it's focused in on that, I thought you were talking about interviewing for
No, it's not
general engineering for
services,
all
no.
projects in the future or what have you.
No, this is.
But this should
is
give us a good understanding
It'll
of.
give us, yeah. good
It's a
feel for-
Future
smaller
projects.
project, and you know you can see how things shake out with that one. If you're happy with them to keep going, or
Okay.
if not, otherwise. But
If anybody wants, if you decide you wanna go to the annual meeting, you can make a choice as to, you wanna take a tour of Lambeau Field or Hall of
The
Fame.
Hall of Fame.
They arrange the tours for groups,
Yeah, let me know and I can get you registered.
so
Unless you need a special room like Mac, then
mine has been taken care of. My legs, I have trouble getting my legs up into the showers, so
Oh my
I,
gosh.
you can.
the handicapped
You
residents,
should just do the day.
one of those things, comes with age.
It's only 3 days you want to shower.
I'll sit next to you then, all right?
No, you won't.
So if you decide you wanna go and get a hold of Nick,
It's been many years since I've gone to one. It's all very worthwhile for any of you guys that think you're gonna stay with this utility commission for a while to take it in because it's very educational and having it up there in Green Bay. I mean, I've done that for Chiefs conventions. They certainly keep you busy up there too, you know, on your off time and whatever. But
the hotel is the Oneida Casino.
Oh, boy.
And Mac was the first one to
Los
sign up.
Angeles.
I'm gonna ask for a couple thousand to spend in the casino, but Lori already put the kibosh to that for me, so.
this is being taped, man.
Yeah, I know. I asked, she said no. I mean,
Did you edit that?
I knew for a fact I wasn't getting it. I was just kidding with her, so. I will lose my own money if I go, so.
Did you set a meeting for the special meeting for the engineering firms? The
It has to be
18th or the
a-
20th?
18th or the
Anybody-
20th.
Anybody a preference? Monday or Wednesday? Fair going
No.
more or less depending on that day?
Aren't you in the wrong month? I don't know.
August.
2 weeks
August.
from now.
That don't sound like the right days.
Yeah, well, I think the fair's over on the 17th.
The fair's the 14th, or like the
13th or
11th,
14th?
13th, 14th,
13th,
15th, 16th. Yeah, you're good. Monday or Wednesday.
Yep.
I prefer,
Either
I
one is
prefer
fine.
Wednesday.
Either one is fine
I prefer Wednesday.
for Wednesday.
I would.
So Wednesday here?
Yeah,
You're doing this with full commission?
full commission.
Okay. Good.
Alrighty,
So that's the 20th,
that's 20th then.
6 o'clock, 6:30?
I'd say 6.
So,
Six.
unless you wanna do earlier.
4 o'clock.
If not,
I'd love that.
Yeah, 7 in the
So-
morning.
That's all I had. Mr. Mayor, do you have anything?
Nothing to add tonight.
We'll get an email on that, I would imagine, right?
Attend your national night out
Oh, yeah.
Tomorrow.
tomorrow night, so make sure that you all stop down and
What the heck is National Night Out?
You'll find out
Where are we
tomorrow.
stopping out?
Going for
down at the fire
years.
station. The utility will have vehicles there, city will have vehicles there. It's kind of just to show the taxpayers, utility users, what
Yeah, I need that back.
kind of infrastructure, what kind of equipment we have, and fire department, EMS, and police. will
6
put
to 8,
on-
you said?
Excuse me?
6 to 8?
Yep. And there's all free goodies and stuff like that down there too. so.
All right. Is there any old business? New business? Anybody wanna make the motion?
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion,
I'll second it.
motion by Bart, second by Doug. Adjourn, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried.